Let there be peace and love. Welcome to Satsang. Once in a while, I remind you from where we come from. When you see the history of the evolution of the humankind, you see that very early the man wants to give a meaning to their life. Life which is a pendulum between pleasures and suffering. And here many answers or goals have been given. Of course, including the religions, philosophies. So I would say that the man questioning the life has to search for a direction, where to go, where to advance. So the mind presents always something which is not here and now. It's always in time farther, something farther to accomplish, to be more happy, or more knowledgeable, or more peaceful, or more perfect. And satsang has this particularity to indicate not to go with the usual flow of the mind towards the beyond. It shows another direction. Maybe real happiness or peace is not somewhere. Otherwise, somewhere is limited with time and space, so it comes and goes on changing. So maybe you have to go back to the source of things. Not to wait for an answer of what's the meaning of life, for example, but asking from where this question comes. Who is asking this question? Who am I, in fact? And the answer is making disappearing the history of the questioner. The moment somehow he understands or is very clear that the mind is helpless and hopeless in this matter. So the answer will not come through the mind. It may be already there before catching the mind. So satsang gives a total emphasis to those moments in between thoughts, or where an experience leaves you without thinking towards the no mind, still an answer expressed by the mind, but it's a different direction. So welcome to this direction this time, the moment of the time of satsang. Generally, it can be symbolical. We leave our shoes outside, means the mind, to sit finally freed from its tyranny. And even when you go out of the satsang, you put back your shoes, the mind reappears, but he will see that his tyranny is in great danger. And that's the beginning of freedom. To see that I am always there, even when the mind doesn't hypnotize me. That's it. If you have any question, conviction, doubt, welcome. Yeah, I did.
For a while, the soak is going on. Some days ago when I went to bed, I was trying to go inquire, but of course, as I say, I'm not the body. The body says, oh yeah. So it makes it even worse and worse and worse. To the point I couldn't even, the nerve system, nothing worked anymore. And then I had finished. No more of this nonsense. At that point, everything was okay. And then the body was gone. The mind was still there.
This is the mind, yeah.
And then I was still in the mind. So I wanted to
You think so?
I must have been falling asleep.
Ah.
About 2 hours later, like I only sleep 2 hours in the morning. As I woke up, I noticed that the force which kept me going, coming here, going for it, since years, was actually the same force which keeps me from surrendering. Because I know the eye is, she's a soap, it's not, can't do anything. I know.
But finally, nothing. What is surrender? It's the mind which surrenders, isn't it? The mind who was all powerful with his owner of the mind, thinking it's real in that way. So what is surrendering? Is when suddenly you see that, oh, that mind is helpless, hopeless after all, to solve this so-called mystery of life. And it goes on changing. So it looks very much like the description of what is said. It is an illusory reality or just an apparent reality. So to whom it belongs? Tell me. That particular mind, to whom it belongs. That particular mind you described, to whom it belongs.
Doesn't exist.
Huh?
So it can only be from the self and the other.
What?
If you say the mind doesn't exist, so it can only belong to the self.
Yeah, but that is not your knowledge.
No.
That's not your knowledge, you see. Now, if you cannot free yourself from the tyranny of the mind with an acquired knowledge. It's very important to be clear. But there is at some point, you have to know that you cannot work with your mind. And yet, you feel you are in the mind. So the direction given here, which could be an exit, is, but who thinks he has a mind? Who is this I? What is this I? Where do you go when you ask this question? And don't stop at any mental answer, otherwise again you are in this circle. So, what happens to your I if you question it this way without considering whatever appears in your body or in your mind or even in your emotions? What happens? That direction, again and again, as long as you believe I'm lost again or I whatever. Again and again. You see, when you describe what happened to you, and you spoke of your body had strong reactions, and then after your mind, they are thoughts. They are bundles of thoughts presented in different ways. So why do you consider them when they get even intensely agitated while inquiring? Because if you consider them, then you create a reality, because your I is not yet devoid of reality, of that sense. So, again, remember, it will not be the way to stop at any appearance while doing self-inquiry. Important. If it is not clear, please don't sit with this. Satsang may be an occasion to clarify oneself about the subject, of course. Yes, Dan?
No. Is contact with people who believe in mind, can it contaminate me? This is something that I have to deal with. Or
if your immune system is weak, yes. That's why I speak of solid background. You have to get such a clarity, even if it is not yet yours, you see, but the trust you have, you borrow this clarity of the mind cannot reach there, so the solution will not be through the mind. You have to get that solid background in you by coming to satsang, by reading text which speaks the same, and by loving it yourself, by your thirst to be free. If you are not yet there, protect yourself. Don't go to those who are infected by something else.
I was speaking with a few people, no problem, and next day after some time I sit with the same people, and it's such a suffering just to sit there.
You don't need to make yours, you just see, yes, there is such a suffering around, which is true. You could say, oh lucky I am, because I know to what it happens. It can happen to a person which really believes, because he didn't question his body, a born body, his emotions, his concepts, conceptual.
If I go in that suffering field, is it damaging me? Is it affecting me? Or is it temporary and it will go?
Depends on you. Depends on you.
I'm fighting, when I'm there, I'm fighting to defend myself. I feel attacked strongly.
Who is attacked?
Ah,
Yeah, this is always the same. Don't try to solve outside, things coming from outside, solving with whatever. You have to ask, finally, it will come to that. You have to ask, but who's suffering? With the suffering of others. But who is suffering? Is the one I think I am. Right? Then dig
it's
more.
the mind being stressed.
Who is stressed?
The mind.
Not the mind. What is the mind without I? There is no mind without I. So I first. I. You have to go to the root. Did you see that? You start to see that? Yes.
I first, like Trump. Joseph.
Yeah.
You invite us to ask, and then you say, if it is not clear, ask.
Yeah, sure.
And it is clear, but as you said before, it's an acquired knowledge.
Mhm.
So it's clear in a certain level, but it's not a fact.
Okay. So
This is
so
what-
now is the time of fact.
Yes.
And you know what to do or not. Tell me. As long as when we listen to one thought, he will be caught by the thought, by this reality which looks so real. He will not see its apparent, you see. So self-inquiry has to infect your life. So of course, you will still maybe feel, oh, okay, I went there, in, out, yet again ask, again visit this place where you always are. But somehow, if you consider a thought as real, it veils it. Because let's say the substratum of things, or the reality, from where this apparent reality rises. I forgot what I want to say. Anyway, it's always there. But it has an expression. And we can say, I am born, are the first expressions. It takes, if you consider that the object, let it be outside or let it be inside, like experiences and so on. If you consider them as real, the self, the substratum, takes that shape. So, by itself, it is invisible. It has no, absolutely, it cannot be objectified. So, what is realization of the self? It's the split second, to speak with words of time, but it's a split second, it's a blink of an eye. To realize I am that, I have always been that, which means no form, no nothing. And of course, who can even search or consider the self if it doesn't express itself all the time, which is the duality, the apparent reality? And that will go on. That will go on. But that split second would have cut the so-called reality of the person, of I am a person, even of I am. So it's not a state, you have not to be like zombies on this planet, I'm the self, I'm the self, I'm the self. No, it's all imaginary of the mind. It will absolutely not be like that. But a split second, just, it's a way to speak, to be freed from beliefs. And that can always be now. If you somehow are taken so much with convictions with your mind of something else, at least make a goal in your incarnation, this one. I will realize one day. This incarnation is meant to see what's real. At least do that. And at some point, it will not be enough for you. It will be now. But what is the delay? It's only the mind which delays. Because it's always there now.
About the delay of the mind.
Yeah.
I can see all the things going in the mind. And it's like a dialogue between the mind and the mind who wants to not be mind, you know? It's like the observer, no? Now I am in the mind, now I am in a problem, now I am with something, and I say, no, it's not, I am not the mind, then I'm not going to go over there, and I stay quiet, and then it's a fear comes to say, you are not in the good way, you are not in the good direction, and I say, I don't hear this, and I get there, and I say, okay, I observe, then I say, well, I observe.
Terror.
It's horrible.
It's very exhausting.
Yeah.
How can I fix that? Tell me.
No, tell me.
in the mind, it's like this that it works. You see, for those, let's say, who still believe the happiness is outside or whatever, they search something outside, it will be jumping. That's why they say the mind is like a monkey. It jumps from one thing to another. Here, the jump has been a bit in a different way because you jump maybe less on the branches of the trees outside, but there is a famous spiritual tree with a lot of branches inside. So now you are jumping there, and sometimes outside too. So it's a lot of trees. So he's jumping. Why don't you give more importance to be without I than to be with an I with no more in this kind of thoughts or in these experiences? You see, this I call the tyranny of the mind. The mind doesn't want to surrender. That's true. He will try his best. But I tell you, if you ask, this thought, it's a thought, but it's a unique thought, it's a subjective thought, the only one ever created. Who am I? So the loop is not like this, or even like this. It's really, you cannot make it more sober. Who am I? The answer is not in the mind, in the body, nor in the emotion. Just that fraction of a second where you are freed from it, know that is this direction. And love it, fall in love with it, know that this is the right direction. And it will eat away, it will ruin the so-called powers of beliefs and habits. That only will win it.
Ganga.
Yes, Rishi.
So this quest for freedom isn't from the mind, but the mind takes it.
Let me see.
So the reason I ask is because I have a thought, I think a good one, but I have a thought at the minute which is I want to meet myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So, in one perspective,
I know it's a thought, so I'd potentially leave it alone. But from another angle, it seems like that is the drive, that is the fire. So I think I just need some clarity.
Okay. Sure, it's a thought. I am searching for something else. I'm searching for myself.
Yeah.
Even Socrates in the West said, know yourself. Gnoti seoton. Know yourself. Not taken as a psychological self. It's a thought that someone has got. Yeah? And he will search, when you have a thought like that, he will search in many directions. Now, it also may come to a few who have already tried so many things in life. They got so many experiences, and still, even with pleasures or accomplishments, they still feel, I'm not really satisfied, or there is a lack of something, or I still something else, I still need something else. So there, I think the quest with the words, you are searching who you really are. You are searching to liberate yourself from beliefs. Suddenly that makes sense. So it gives direction to the quest. A very different direction than before, where you have to believe in something to accomplish that goal and so on. So with that unique thought, and it is more precise that I have this quest, means I'm searching who I am in reality. I don't know who I am, except I may know who I am when I describe this body, when I take it for granted that, of course, if I take my body, it is born, and so all these logical consequences, which is life. So that leads to this subjective question, and that I would not dismiss, because if you keep that subjective questions, automatically it dismisses the utmost value of other questions. You see? And so you will be kept with one stick, trident. And don't worry, as in India, when you have a spike in your foot, you take another spike to remove it, both spikes will go. They will be useless when the work is done. So that subjective thought will disappear on its own when there is nobody anymore as real who takes it to go somewhere else again. You see?
Yeah.
Okay. So, in the contrary, what a luck to have this thought. What a blessing. Yeah?
Ganga, I don't know how to handle trust. I see that I had never trust to my parents, to my brother, and also that I lost trust in human beings, or I had never, because all are minds. Me too. Or I have, yeah. And now I don't know where to put the trust. I see the I, that the I wants to put his trust somewhere as a reference. It was for a long time my wife. Now it changed. And so the last chance is you.
Not a you as a form and a character and a person. Don't do that.
Okay, yeah.
Trust the indication, which is, after all, didn't aged since the first wise men appeared on this earth. It's called perennial wisdom. Trust that, you see, and it's available now because it is responding to your demand. Where to trust? You are right. You're right.
What not?
You are right.
Yeah.
So trust the indication where your mind will submit finally. Submit as I am somebody, that pride, that basic pride, okay? Which this somebody will still reappear unless you just die on the spot, which is very rare. That somebody will still reappear, but you will not base yourself anymore as reality on that someone. You see? That's called realize yourself urgently then. What is preventing you?
What is preventing? Maybe arrogance, because this is the other.
But you were
topic.
speaking of trust, huh?
We're speaking of trust.
You were speaking of
Yeah, yeah.
trust, so
Yeah.
I gave you fully trust the indication. I am already that, which cannot be objectified, and any objectification is an expression of it.
I trust that I want to be free.
It's the same. So who wants to be free? Go from where this thought
Yeah.
comes from.
It's not the I who wants this.
Of course it's the I. Why do
It's
you
the
give
I.
that answer? Of course it's the I wants
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
But the I will not be realized. It's when it disappears as the only reality. That's why this is the way to surrender. Because I, who is asking, who am I, at some point, he will not be there anymore. So go that way.
But I see there is still arrogance who wants. Or
Why do you want to see? I told you not to see anything anymore for a while.
Okay, thank you.
Otherwise you will be a religious, oh I am proud, oh I should be humble, I should be humble. No! Do it. Don't look at those thoughts. Okay? Oh.
Ganga,
Yeah.
can you help me with some clarity? When I ask the question, who sees this?
Yeah.
I know there's nowhere to go. And
Okay.
I don't pick an answer which comes up. But then it feels like it stops, or that
The but makes it stop. You said but then. Why do you catch but? The but is an arising thought that you catch. That will give you the impression it stops.
it's the same feeling, the same what happens now, happens then also.
You didn't hear me
No,
then.
I think
You didn't
because
hear me.
it feels the same, like
What?
a kind of neutrality or
A kind of what?
neutrality.
Neutrality, you describe it. It's again a thought because the mind wants to own. You have to be aware that we live our life on thoughts. We are bound by thoughts. And know that this is not the reality. You see? I want to be freed from that. I want to be freed from that. But for that, nobody can help you except yourself. I can indicate the way. I cannot do the job for you. When a thought appears, for once, if you have this fire at that moment, I want to be myself. I want to know what is my real self. Don't catch any thought at that very moment. Nor next. At least this will give you a glimpse towards the right direction. The answer will never, ever be solved by thoughts. And don't have this concept that, oh, no, I am in no mind, and when a thought comes, oh, I lost my no mind. Nor no mind, nor mind will do. Papaji said in a beautiful way, mind, no mind, never mind. Really? Huh? Remember that. Yeah?
Is it true? It seems like I discovered like the thought I am that is also keeping me in the eye.
Don't play with that. It's like the search who am I. If you say if you keep that thought, I am that, what are you at that time? If you tell I am that, what are you at that time? That. If you tell I am a donkey, what are you at that time? No, a donkey. So what's wrong with that? The mind doesn't want to surrender. It will find any argument not to keep this unique thought, like who am I, or I am that, which is that I am and beyond I am and I am not. To keep its throne, its mastership, its pride, its arrogance. You see? So, don't worry. You will not even have to utter I am that when you are really that. Meanwhile, do it. Yeah?
Does it have any intelligence? What's,
Mind what? Does it have what?
any intelligence or
It looks like.
feeling of what's right and wrong? Or is it
Feeling of
alive?
what?
Feeling of what's right and wrong, or does it not? Is it alive?
It depends how it is shaped, this mind. I mean, depends on your education, your own beliefs, the religious or not. It takes the shape you give it.
But does it have an identity?
It has an owner. It has an owner.
But in itself, it's only a mechanism.
If I doesn't wake up, is there a mind? Tell me now.
When it wakes up, there's no mind. So it cannot be real because it can disappear.
Yes, my dear. Depends on I which wakes up or dreams. You know, in fact, this expression is that or the self itself or the reality itself. So of course it has a tremendous intelligence. Look at this universe, which is created. It's that itself. The problem is that I, as a person, took himself for a very particular rising thought, suffers. So he wants to know in the end, after a long evolution and an extreme exhaustion and fadedness of suffering and too much tiring, to be all the time fed by experiences and nothing is really satisfying. So that quest comes. Okay. Is there an I after all?
Is it possible that one has been awakened before?
What? Only. Takatum, takatum, takatum. Okay, hi. Yes, cowboy, tell me what.
This awakening wisdom, when I'm with people, I still feel a bit
People, they really are your trouble, huh? I tell you, the real trouble is I. There is no people, no other, if I doesn't take himself for real. So look at that one.
there's no people.
When you sleep, I sleeps. Is there any people? Like
So
that?
the next time I have a problem, I can say there's no people.
No. You have to say, who is this I who sees people?
I tried that and I will tell you.
Yes. You see, it's like some people, they get some information without really understanding, especially with this non-dual direction. They are with their friends and they say, you don't exist. You don't exist, so whatever. But they take themselves for existing. So all those, you see, all those expressions they try to describe what is undescribable, but still we can say through negativity, or it is not this, it is not that. But it applies to the source of all things, to what you are. It doesn't apply to somebody. Yeah.
Can I ask you about the vigilance? Being vigilant.
Vigilance.
Yes. In this sense of self-inquiry.
Yes, it's part of the self-inquiry. You see, if you are, for example, you feel completely lost in something, and suddenly you wake up from there and say, oh, what am I doing? What am I thinking? I'm not what I can describe. I'm not what I can experience. When you have that background, you see it comes, at some point it comes spontaneously to wake you up. So it's called vigilance. Yes. And then you stop. Okay, this body, it concerns this person. I think I am, but I hurt. I'm not what I think. I'm not what I can feel. I'm not what I can sense in reality. You can call it vigilance, yeah. But for that, you see, you need a certain amount of, unless you realized it before. But if you are in satsang for a while, you need a certain you have to come for some time to acquire this knowledge which becomes yours and spontaneously it will wake you up. You see? I call it a solid background. Yes. Because the mind has been so used to go in so many other directions and with so many other offerings too. So this indication is really particular to those who want to free themselves from the tyranny of the mind. So, and it is not a bondage to come to satsang for a while, to keep the company of that. It will remove your bondage is, I don't know if you say that in English. It removes other bondage. So, and as I say, what remains unique, the unique thought which remains, don't worry. It has been an instrument, a tool of help that itself will disappear, because you see, what is realization is to see that you mistook yourself for what appears. It's not existent by nature, it appears, it functions, it's not existent by itself. So, don't worry.
I see that the trying to control the expression is also needing to go to just keep it more simple than that, and not like conflict between who loves, as if when I love it means I'm not really in myself somehow, because
Yeah.
and so then I try to control that expression because it's distracting, but really it's going to continue to go
No,
on.
yes, great. Yes. You see, all the expressions of the self it's because we mistook for a particular expression that we are in confusion. But once you realize who you are, every expression is expressing itself spontaneously. You don't need to control anything. It's the self. You're never lost, actually. Yes. Then you can go, no problem.
If there are so many expressions, like boiling water or like in a pot, and then boiling water and this expression there, and I'm aware it's not me, but then I don't know how to escape or whatever. I'm aware it's not me. I can ask, okay, who sees this all?
Then is there any problem with the boiling pot?
No.
Then don't make it.
Yes. No problem. And if other pots arises, then I'm just there.
Yeah, you are just aware, okay? What you are is awareness.
Yeah.
Okay. And its function is sometimes we'll be aware of and sometimes aware of nothing. Yes.
Okay.
But you are the awareness. You cannot even call it awareness because it's more like a function. You are that. Yeah.
Thank you that I can be with you. And thank you.
It is you who wanted. Thank your demand. So, thank you.